Ooh.
Hey guys, happy Sunday.
Everyone. Happy Sunday. I'm Keedron.
I'm Katura, and we are the Bostons. You are watching Talking with the Bostons. Listen, we are just two regular people, married people, parenting people, everyday people, like I said, and we talk about things that matter to us. This is not a ministry or church. We're two people who serve in the local church, and a lot of our principles and foundational things that we do cover have scripture and are I guess our foundation is in Christ, so that'll be kind of weaved in all the elements of what we talk about and how we share our testimony and talk about the things that we talk about. So if you are new and joining us for the very first time, just wanted to give you kind of some insight as to what you can expect from the Bostons. But yeah, I'm excited to talk tonight to the people. Did y'all see the title?
We in there.
This was his idea. I had nothing to do with it. So we're gonna get into it.
Yeah. So thank y'all for tuning in. Instagram. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to Facebook, YouTube, our Facebook group. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We love y'all. Yeah. So today we're talking about parenting. Again, you know, we are parents.
Yes.
We have 4 wonderful children.
Run them down the line. Yeah, Tell them who we got.
Our oldest son, Aaron, he is 24 years old.
That's right.
He's attending University of North Texas right now. We also have a 21-year-old daughter. She just turned 21 on August 29th. So thank y'all. Yes. So thank y'all for all the birthday love, the gifts, and all those good things like that. We appreciate y'all for being.
So let's not gloss over that, because there were some of you who had asked me like privately what they could do to bless her. And so I guess she saw it because I tagged her on Facebook. She recently added me. Like, she didn't add me at first. I'm like, whatever, you know, we on Instagram. I got all your pages and stuff. Yeah. But she sent me a link to like her Amazon wish list. And so I posted it on my Facebook page where I was like giving her a shout out for her birthday. And some of you saw it, liked it, chose things from her cart, and blessed her and sent her some things. So she was very grateful, and I thought it was super thoughtful. As a mom, as parents, it was very, very kind. So thank you all for that. We appreciate you.
Appreciate y'all so much.
Yep.
So that's our 21-year-old. Then we have a 15-year-old son, Zion.
Yep.
He's in the 10th grade now. That's our guy. And we have Zoe. She's our 12-year-old daughter, and she's in the 7th grade. And she is our first homeschool student.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Not counting COVID when kids were sent home.
Right. That's
she
true.
is like legitimately homeschooled. Yeah. So that's our tribe. That is Boston's world right here.
For sure.
The 6 of us. So only 5 of us live in the home right now. But we do talk a lot about parenting and marriage and relationships, because we believe in talking about things that we know.
Yeah.
We're not trying to put on for anybody. We want to bring quality content. And it's really based on our opinions and just how we do life. So we're never going to project ourselves to be perceived as experts, but we are experienced. And so what we do on this channel is we just share our experiences with you, hope that they bless you, hope that they cause you to want to engage with us, hopefully follow, like, and share, and comment, you know, to just kind of gather the engagement and things like that. And we've done some polls and gotten a lot of topics from you all. So thank you for participating. That poll is on our Facebook page, Talking with the Bostons. Yeah. So if you're the Facebook group, yes. The Facebook group, Talking with the Bostons. So if you have not heard of it and want to be a part of that community, you can do that. It's free. We don't sell you anything in that page. Okay. It's just us having conversations, chit chatting, and just kind of getting to know each other, talking about stuff that is real, raw, and relevant and transparent for us. Yeah. So, and hopefully for you. So you can do that there, and there's still time to vote. You can still vote on topics that you'd love us to talk about if we have not already covered them. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So let's get into this, because I feel like
oh goodness,
this is something that you know, throughout our years of parenting, partnering with parents, with being in ministry, you know, connecting with parents, listening, building, talking with parents, learning from other parents.
That's right, because we do that too.
Yeah, watching other parents.
Yes, listening to y'all.
Right, you know. I think that if we look at this first, good parent, bad parent, if we look at this first through the eyes of our kids, right? You know, them looking at us, whether it's a single parent home, or you have, two guardian, 2 parent home. Because you can be one or the other, right? If you're a
Right.
single parent, you could be the parent that, hey, super strict, the bad parent in their eyes because they can't ever do anything. Or you can be the parent, look, very understanding, whatever that is in the eyes of.
Or you can be all both.
Or you can
but
be
how they
both.
perceive you, right? Because
Right.
even being strict, having boundaries, some kids are like, I can't do anything. And you're
Yeah.
like, I'm trying to keep you alive so you can
I'm
do more
trying
stuff.
to help you survive. Yeah.
Trying to keep you alive out here in these streets.
Right, right. Or in a house where, of course, it's, 2 parent, 2 guardian
Yes.
household, seeing that either one of you is that good parent, the one that
Good
is the
parent,
yes
right.
parent, the yes, go ahead and do it, or let them have it, let them go,
Yes.
let them, and the parent that's like, no, get it together. I saw what you did. I know what you're doing.
Or I said no,
I said-
it's no, and I'm like, but so and so other parent said.
Yes.
How do you navigate that?
How do you navigate that? So
Yes.
even in the comments, y'all put in there, what do you think you are? What parent? If you're a parent, do you think that in the eyes of your children, or even yourself, because I think you mentioned that too when we
Right.
were talking about this.
I
before.
definitely know how I identify. Okay. There's no confusion about how I identify. I try to have a balance.
Yeah.
But I know, and maybe we should share that
Yeah.
with them, like what we
We
think.
definitely have
We
to.
might surprise each other.
Yeah.
Because again, this was his doing. Like, we know this is a real thing because we've had conversations where we've had instances where I definitely felt like I was the bad parent. Or there have been times where I'm like, I'm trying to be the good parent here. Don't knock my flow. Like, we got something. Let me have my moment. So that has changed, and it has varied, across kids and us. And here's the thing: we're outnumbered. So we don't know if any of you are outnumbered, or if you're a new parent,
Right.
or you are a guardian of another generation, like maybe you're a grandparent or an aunt of a child that you did not give birth to, but you're raising them and trying to keep up with their stuff.
Yeah.
There are some learning curves there across different generations, and just having different kids in the household.
For sure.
They're all different, and they have one mom and one dad. So their life and how they, kind of process who their parents are is a lot less complicated than it is for us. So we'll get into that.
Yeah, let's get into that. So we already have Precious. She says she both.
Yes.
Yes.
That's my mommy.
Yeah.
And she was definitely both. She was definitely both. She had to be the one to say no when no's were necessary. And she was also the one that gave yeses when yeses were necessary or warranted. And so it is a tough balance, because growing up in a house with her as a single mom, I definitely understood that there was a balance. Like, the same mom that would tell me no would be the same mom that would tell me yes to something else. And so I learned that there's not a difference, between her. Like, if she feels like this is okay, then it'll be a yes. And if she's not comfortable, it will be a no. And I might not always get the, I guess, the response or the explanation that I wanted, but I knew that this was the same person's issuing out the yeses and the nos. Majority of the time.
Yeah, no, that's good, and that's interesting too, because I, when I think about my mom, of course there was a period of time where she was, single parenting us, and I think it was a balance in that time too, as far as with her, but I also, had older uncles and great cousins that kind of played a role that allowed for some flexibility in there, especially the
like I did with
men.
my aunts. I had the same thing. Like, when I went to their house, there were different rules of engagement. They didn't break my mom's rules. But they were just different things that I could do. That were kind of a privilege.
For sure. Yeah. Because I remember our older, Uncle Melvin or Cousin Melvin, Uncle Bernard, type of stuff. Let him go ahead and do it. He's a boy. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff versus, but also my mom raised me to be. My mom, she's tough. She's an OG, you know what I mean, herself. And so she, kind of allowed me to be a boy, you know what I mean, and to have my fun and to, play in the dirt and all that stuff like that. I was riding a bike.
His mom would play in the dirt with him. So that was kind of the thing.
And she'll still do that. We had some time. For
they
our family
reunion.
Yeah, I had to pull up some pictures.
Oh,
her grandchildren, and then me, because I had to be the judge of the mud pies.
Did you taste it?
Imaginary, okay. But So there was times for me to be able to do that. So let's get into this. So let's check this out. So we
Yes.
actually have I'm going to look on
y'all.
our Facebook group in order
Yes,
to
please, so we
see
can see the names.
who those are. So
Single working parent.
yeah,
I can dig that. That was also my mom. And that was also Keidron's mom for a time. So we definitely understand that balance. I don't try to speak too much to it because my season of like functioning like a single mom was very, very short lived. During the time Keidron was away in college, and it's still different than having to do everything on your own and having no help versus what I experienced. So your experience matters because that's not something that I can speak to. And even when I talk about my mom or he talks about his mom, we are giving a limited perspective, right? We're giving a limited perspective as the kids in that scenario, not the adult that was responsible for us. So thank you for contributing.
And that's Latasha. That's Latasha, single working parent. Latasha
Dorothy's
Crawford.
mom?
Yeah.
Look, you are an amazing, amazing mom.
Yes,
and your son is incredible. I feel like we maybe don't know him anymore. But the years of him growing up, like he's a young man now, and the years of just knowing him growing up, he was always a very, very good and respectful boy. So whatever you were doing it right, man. We could take a page from your book. For
Understood.
Sure.
Let's pull this up to here because this is her. This is Latasha Crawford.
Okay.
You're saying this right here. I often feel bad about not being physically present as much as I'd like, and I'm missing time to raise my son the way I want to, especially since no siblings are here with him. Yeah, so
that's a great perspective.
That is a great perspective. Did you have something to say about that? I don't want to cut you off. I didn't want to say.
No, did you want to start? I can always piggyback because that is a great perspective.
Yeah. No, I think even just looking back, and I said this to one of my brothers. About a year or so ago, we were talking about this. A lot of times, for us as parents, like we want to be the best that we can. Right. And so we do the best that we can. And so
most of us, right?
Most of us
like,
do, right?
We're not trying to do bad. We want to do good.
For us who are doing the best we can and want to be the best that we can, we put the effort towards it. And so, but sometimes we don't realize that our children, and I think there's grace for this too, that our kids don't feel it the way we feel it. You know,
right?
You know what I mean? Like the weight of it, because our presence, is so. When we are there, it's so potent, so impactful that it hits different for them. Of course, we want to give them our all. We want to be there for every waking moment as much as we can. We don't want to miss their events. We don't want to miss the times that
really matter to them.
Really matter to them.
Right.
And so that's where it gets us, where it pricks us. It's like, oh, if I could just have one more, But I really believe that there's grace for those times and those moments that when they look back, that they'll remember you there more times than not. You know what I mean?
And you were the one that held it down for him.
For sure.
You know what? Honestly, that is actually a comment that I can really relate to. Yeah. Oh, he'll be 11. Wow. That's so cute.
Yeah.
That's something I can relate to because when my career fast tracked, like right out of college, like soon as I got my bachelor's degree, I got a job working in the education system. I wanted to be a teacher. I went to school to be a teacher. Yeah. Before I even graduated, I was offered my first teaching position. And me trying to be an overachiever and prove that like I was worth my weight in salt, right? I could do everything and I could go in early and I could stay late and I could volunteer for this club and that club and I'll sponsor this and just as long as the babies can have fun and be a part of their programs, like I wanted to do it. But by that time, I already had all 4 of my kids, right? And when I got my bachelor's, I already had all 4 of my kids at that time. So when I went back to school 3 years later, which I didn't know I was going to be going back to school. I got offered an opportunity to get my master's, and Keidron was super supportive, and allowing me to be able to do that and manage the household and the kids, after he got off work because he was working too. So I was working during the day, going to school at night, and I just really felt like I was losing all the time with my kids. But in my mind, I just kept saying, "Just get done, Couture. Just get done," because we have a goal. Like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to graduate. And I kept seeing myself in the future. I see myself being in the position that I want and making the money that I want. And I chased it and I got it. It didn't take long. I had my next job before I graduated with my master's. It sounds like I'm just testifying, but it's going to go somewhere. Y'all stay with me. So I did. And I had my next job and did some really great things, big projects, had a lot of favor. what did I get for doing such a great job and being such an overachiever? I got more work. Getting that next job and getting that promotion meant even more time away. And I felt that. And there were days where I was like, is the extra promotion worth it? Is the extra money worth it? I just want to spend time with my kids. And then my husband had this idea later on that he shared with me. And he was like, you know what? You can't always make more minutes, but you can make moments. And in those moments, you can make memories.
Right.
So we have to be intentional with the time
That's
that we
good.
do have. Because he didn't want me to feel guilty. He was like, you're doing great.
Right.
You're out here doing great work. You're here for the kids. You still are doing this and that. And I mean, everything he was saying was probably true. But the guilt that I had placed on myself, you know, I can't say, look, they were lies from the enemy, but it was just like the enemy really had me convinced, like, you're a bad mom. You're selfish. This ain't about the kids. This is about you. And you're doing this for you. And when are you going to slow down? When are you going to stop? And so, once I got to a place where I was really able to receive what he was saying to me, God did cause a shift. And I'm still doing something I love. But what he did was he redeemed time for me, which means he didn't give me more time. The time that I do have, though, he gave me wisdom and more opportunities to be even more impactful with it. But it was every season, what did we do with the time that we have? So as a mom, this is not just about them. Oh, they had their dad. It was me personally, like as a parent, like I feel personally responsible for the time that I give or am not able to give to my kids and to my husband. So I feel you on that. Like that hit me all up inside my insides.
No, that's
Like, I was like, yes, I get it.
That's so real though, because we want to be there. We want to be. We don't want to miss it.
Right. Don't want to miss it.
We don't, you know. But there's grace for what we have to do, even in our situations, whatever our circumstances, whatever our situations look like.
Right.
And I remember one time too, I was thinking too, I was like, you know, our kids are at school from 8 to 4, you know, during those days, and we're working during that time as well. Yes, I may get back at 6 or 7. And so I have a few hours less with them on that day. But they've been at school all day too. You know what I mean? And so even thinking of that's trying to find ways to not be so hard on ourselves, you know, for not being able to spend more time. But there's grace for that. Yeah. And then for the kids, it's funny if you ask your kids what are some of the things, or even if you hear some of the things that they remember about just the time that you have been with them, right? You know what I mean? For 11 years for your young man, for 24 years, for 12, for 19, for 15, and 21 for ours. When they tell us about the things that they remember when they were kids, it's different than what we remember. You know what I mean? Like we remember different types of moments. I remember your first step. I remember when you first said daddy. You know what I mean? I remember when you first ate that biscuit and it tasted good to you. The jelly hit your tongue and then your taste buds. I remember, you know, they don't remember that stuff. You know what I mean? They remember the time where you said something funny and maybe, you made them laugh because you said something or you did something and it's totally random. You're like, I don't even remember that. You know? You know, and so their perspective is different than ours when it comes to the moments that we spend with them. So
what do you say?
Yeah.
No, that was good. What do you say to that though then? Because I know for me, and if this is anybody else listening too, like just let us know in the comments. You can leave me out here by myself. I'm strong enough to handle it. But if you can relate, just let me know in the comments. But there were even moments where I felt like I didn't have enough time with my kids, like when you were away at school.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah. Pardon me. Go ahead.
Okay. No, that's okay. Look, I got to check on you first. When you were away at school still, and we were with the kids, and when you would come back on the weekends, you wanted to do all these activities, right? Because it was like your way of trying to make up for time. I remember it was the same thing for me, trying to make up for time, but then disciplining and training and having to get on them was also harder when they needed correction because I felt like, man, I got home at 7:30 and I need to address the fact that you were supposed to have that phone put up and you still have it, but I haven't seen you since 6 a.m. this morning. It's 7 o'clock at night. I just want to love you
Sheesh.
and squeeze you. But what am I gonna do about it? Because I'm gonna keep coming home at 7 and 8
Right.
o'clock at night. I'm gonna still. This is gonna be our norm.
Yeah.
So am I just supposed to keep letting this slide? And it was like for you, it was imperative that I didn't try to save like consequences for you to deal with the kids, because like you coming home and they haven't seen you all week, and then being like, dad's home for the weekend, now tell them what you did, and you got your folder signed for talking, or you were being disrespectful and I had to pop you, get them, Kedron. That wouldn't have been appropriate. I felt like I didn't want to rob you of those moments either. But even when it was me, and I'm like, I need to address this.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be on Snapchat if I told you you're not allowed to have this on your phone. But I also have not seen you in 12 hours.
Yeah.
So now how do I reconcile that? Like,
yeah.
right?
Those are real.
Like,
those are real
thing.
moments. Yeah. Yeah. Those are real moments that we have to we do have to address. And I think it is important to, go ahead and address those things. But
right. I know, like y'all in the comments, like do y'all or have y'all found yourself in that place? Because we're just pausing right there on like the time thing, and just the parent guilt, because mom guilt, dad guilt when it comes to time is also a real thing, because that is when I felt like I want to be good parent.
Yeah.
And if I get on them, the kids are going to see me as bad parent. And so is that 2 strikes against me? I didn't have enough time with you today, or I didn't get to see you off to school today, and I come home and you're getting in trouble, and we're going to go through this. I'm going to give you a lecture, give you your consequence, and tell you you can't be on your phone for the next 2 days.
Yeah.
You're going to take a shower, go to sleep, and then we're going to wake up. We're going to do this all over again. Like, is this how I want our night to end?
Yeah.
How do we reconcile that? Because I never wanted to be that mom.
Yeah. And I think thinking about it, and I'm thinking through it now, because of course we work through it in the way we work through it, because even during the week, sometimes if there was something that needed to be addressed that I needed to talk about, even if I wasn't there, then I might be put on the phone to have a conversation.
That did happen.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I remember that a couple times.
But even in the situation where, yes, I'm working all day and I get home and I notice that there are things that needed to be done that shouldn't have been done, now I have to say, okay, I think just flipping it. Go ahead, love on them, acknowledge them, do whatever you're gonna do because you've been gone all day. Love them,
still do that.
Give them the goodness. You know what I mean? But then before the end of the evening, or even the next day, to be able to mention, hey, say, I just wanted to mention this and bring this up. That I noticed that you had your phone out, or you didn't take the trash out. You didn't do what I asked you to do yesterday or earlier. I need you to take care of that for me. I need your help in that way. Like, I didn't want to say anything when I first got home, because I missed you all day. I wanted to see you, and I didn't want to, feel like I was jumping on you or whatnot. But it did kind of disappoint me a little bit. You know what I mean? So I think you could flip it and have it to still, embrace them and be able to love them, but still address it, because it's definitely something that you want to uphold the standard in your house.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that they understand, like, this is what I need from you. Like, you're going to get the good and you're going to get the ugly, according to you, because you don't want me. You're going to get the correction and the redirection. Let me put it like that.
Right.
And so I think just having that balance and just saying, no, I'm going to love on you. I'm going to embrace you. But then I'm gonna pick my spots and just praying for discernment of like, when do I need to address
What's the right time?
Because it needs to be addressed.
No, it does.
In those times, you know what I mean? It do. Yeah, it does need to be addressed.
And my mom used to have this saying, like when I was coming up, like she didn't want me to go to school upset.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when I think about you saying like you have to pick those spots, I remember it being like it was prayer in the morning.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm gonna cover you in the morning. And even if we didn't pray, I wasn't getting like a lecture, because she would always sound like, I don't want you to leave the house upset or feeling beat down before you even get outside.
Yeah.
And so I remember feeling that way too, like I don't want them to get upset or be upset, first thing in the morning. But there is a balance, like picking your spot, because things do have to be addressed. And here's the thing. We grown, right?
Yeah.
We're pretty.
I'm 40 now, so
man, and you've been showing out for the last. Let me tell you something. He didn't turn 40. He think he all the way grown. I've been trying to talk to him. Send him to y'all. I'm not, but he been acting grown around here. And we are pretty much settled in who we are,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
As people, as a couple, as parents, we're pretty much settled. But let's just be real. We have not, neither one of us wanted to be seen by our kids as like the bad one or the mean one or the
Right.
less than fun one.
Yeah.
And somehow, as a grown person, I have had seasons with the children that you gave me and feeling like I'm not the fun one
Yeah.
because I feel like I keep running up on nonsense with these children and then I have to correct it. Why did I have to see it first? Like there were literally moments like, why did I have to walk in here and catch you slacking? Why I have to come in the house and smell the trash? Because if I
Right.
smell the trash, I'm saying something,
Right.
you know, and not wanting to be like when they see mom coming, they already know it's inspection time.
Yeah.
Not wanting to be the perceived bad or mean one.
Yeah.
Because I'm also that same mom that you already know when they don't want to ask dad and they think mom might understand more or mom might be able to soften. I'm that same one. Oh, but if I have to come with correction, it's the murmuring and the siblings. And I'm like, look, y'all can talk about me all y'all want to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there was a season I'm like, Kedron, I want to be the fun one sometimes too. You come in here with, you know, socks on your head and make the kids laugh. And I done had to get on at least 3 out of 4 kids.
Oh, goodness.
You know,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't want to be the one.
So you think you're the bad parent
I think I'm, yes.
in their eyes, right?
In their eyes.
It's not-
Sometimes I
you're
do.
not bad.
Sometimes I think I'm the one who walks in on stuff. I feel like after I done caught, thank you, Shari. Like sometimes I feel like I'm the one I come in and I don't, because I'm observant. I'm the woman of the house.
Yeah.
I feel like I come in and I see stuff. My nose, y'all, I can smell the trash in my house from outside the house if I really on a good day. Because I'm just like, I'm gonna notice that. Some dishes. Like I notice stuff like that. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I done been at work all day. Y'all not just gonna sit up in here all day. Cause we just got out of summer. I know kids are in school now, but
Yeah.
we just got out of summer. And I'm like, y'all not just gonna sit in this house
Yeah.
as big as y'all are and just let this place go
Let it
to
be what it
disarray. And I come in here and then dad'll see a funny video and then he's back in the hallway and they laughing and cackling and carrying on. I'm at the end of the hallway like, did you ask me if he took that trash out? Did you ask me if he took that trash out?
Oh my
Well,
goodness.
by everybody laughing and having
Yeah.
a ball, you know, what's going on. So anyway,
Yeah.
that's just me. But y'all like
That's
I
fine.
told you, y'all can leave me out here by myself.
Yeah.
But if y'all can relate in any way, let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Cause I'm a screenshot and let my kids read it later. No, I'm not. But
Listen.
you know.
Yeah. No, but I think even with that, like first of all, I don't think you're a bad parent, you know. And I don't think I'm the good parent either. Like I just
Yeah.
you know, I wanted to talk about this because I think there's still a recipe for it because of
I
course
think
there
so
still
too.
need to
There's
be
a balance.
right. And if now there are some times where we will both go hard on them, right? At the same time.
Oh yeah.
But I think more times
don't
than
like
not, they don't like
They
that.
don't want that.
But more times than not, if you see it or if it's something that's just getting to you, then you address it in that moment. I don't feel like I need to get in the way.
Yeah.
To get in the way
And
of
I'm like, why y'all smiling?
look, let them have it and just give it to them. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna get in the way. And in their eyes, if they feel like, well, that ain't really, you know.
You know, it's like being in middle school when you have beef with somebody, right? You just want your friend to be like, you gonna be behind me when I go up to them.
I'm gonna be behind you.
Like me behind
Like
me.
what she said, he
Right.
said, you know.
And sometimes that's good enough. But if he's nowhere to be found, I'm like, doggone it. Why did I have to be the one to walk up on these toys being spewed out? And I know, you know,
Right.
it's just different things like that. I feel like not the ghost buster, but I'm like the nonsense buster. Like I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna know what's happening in this house.
Yeah.
And there's always a decision to make. But again, like I said, there's a balance because I'm still also the same mom that they love when I cook for them and make them dessert and take them out or buy them things or love on them. Just my mom isms, right? That are unique between me and each of them. And we have that.
Yeah.
But that's why I preface this all by saying, like, we're mature, grown adults that have been parenting for 24 years. If we added up all of their ages, like 24, 21, 15, and 12 years old, that's a lot of parental experience,
Yeah, 'cause
right?
each year, each kid is different.
Every kid is different,
Lord
and
have
they're
mercy.
different every single year.
Yeah,
So that's why we say we're not experts. This is just our experience,
Yeah.
but that's where we're at.
yeah, no, but
That's where
even,
I'm at.
no, for real, So even on my side, like, because there are times where I get on them,
Yeah.
and I remember the first time, and I don't do this much
Yeah.
at all. I probably can count on one hand.
I bet I know what you're gonna say.
How many times I've done it. But I remember when Symphony was young, and I raised my voice at her.
Oh,
I remember, I don't know what it was, if I told her to stop, if I said, hey, whatever it was,
Mhm.
have this. I know my voice
it's like a lion's roar.
can be big. You know what I mean?
Unintentionally too.
Yes. And I remember getting loud with her. That was the first time I had ever done that. And it maybe one more time after that, maybe, if that. But she just, her eyes, and she has these big almond jasmine from Aladdin eyes,
Yeah.
beautiful eyes like her mom. And I remember her eyes just welling up with tears.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just there, like, looking at me with these big doe eyes. And whenever she would close her eyes,
and then she blinked.
Just the waterworks would just flow. And so I never want my children to feel that part from me. I don't want my wife to feel that part of me. Yeah. In that way, I want them to know it's there, but feel it more so with my love in that way.
Right.
And if I tell them something, I want them to know that I mean it. I don't want to have to elevate my voice to do that.
Yeah.
But there was a time, most recently too, within the last year, I felt like, I'm gonna be real, I felt like I was talking too much to my kids. I felt like I was talking too much, and my voice, it seemed like it was just being less effective because I was using so many words to tell them what I needed them to do to get their stuff together, whatever it was.
Trying to be helpful, trying
to make sure all of these things. Yeah. And I just felt like, you know what? I'm talking too much. They don't, and I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't respect respect is probably a tough word, for me to use. Not for lack of a better word.
It's becoming too common.
Too common. Mm-hmm. So I began to pull back intentionally. And I felt like the Lord was telling me that I needed to do that. Like, use less words.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
Take a season where I was saying less to them. Not being petty. I answered questions that they asked. If I needed something from them, I was direct. It wasn't like I was just ignoring them, and it wasn't that.
No, it wasn't silent treatment.
Yeah, not at all. Like, that's not how
we don't do things like that.
Yeah. No. But I did feel like I was at a point, had a period of time where I felt like, man, I'm talking too much. I'm saying too many things, and my words seem less effective because there's so many. Yeah. And so, but I had to pull back, be prayerful, and be, I guess, more tactical even with what I had to share and what I had to say. Yeah. And leave it there and move around. I don't know if they were getting too comfortable with that, if they were, whatever it was, but I noticed that there needed to be a shift in that area of our life, so, in our relationship. But there are times where together, like, we've come back and I say, look, this is it. Like, this, and this shouldn't be this way. Handle this, handle that, get it together. I don't want to see it, and being very direct, and like, I don't care if y'all feel some type of way. If you feel like I'm nagging or getting on, you're gonna hear me right now, because if you didn't want to hear this, you should have did what we asked you to do before we got to this point. You know what we expect. Right. It's this, and that. It's even on the board right here. You know what I mean? Yeah,
can we pause right there for a moment? Let's also preface this, if you're just joining. we have stated that we don't have like 4 and 5, 6-year-olds that we're talking about. We're talking about raising a household that has 24-year-old. Well, he doesn't live at home anymore, but he was 22 when he moved out. So, right now we have a 21-year-old, 15-year-old, and a 12-year-old.
Mhm.
So these are not babies. These are young people who have experienced these same expectations. We don't deviate much. We figured out we worked with the first 2. We just kept it going with all 4 of them. But we also have a board that's central in our house, and it has our calendar and to-do list and chores. We also have our family treatment agreement up, like how we take care of the house together. So everything is written out. Yeah, the treatment agreement is right here. And then in our kitchen, we have an open, the open concept kitchen everyone has access to it and can see it. And everyone has to walk past the kitchen, the trash, and the dining room, all of that as they just go about their day. So when we say, there are times when we come in and we're direct, here's the thing, parents, once these expectations have been set, I mean, let me tell you something. Writing stuff on a board and hanging it up is very new to us.
Yeah.
Right? My mom was like, she'll tell you, we don't want to write stuff. Look, if my mom had a note for me, it was like, I'm getting home from school. She done wrote on the back of an envelope. Don't have nobody in my house. I'll be home at this time. Make sure y'all wash the dishes, take out the trash, whatever. That was how you left a note. There was no cell phones and all this extra stuff. There wasn't any board or calendar. And, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. Yes, some of y'all know that. That's old school. That's what we did. So we just took it to the next level and said, you know what? This is what we use for work. We have a whiteboard, calendar, and this is how we kind of plan and manage and do all these things. So we have the same thing. We adopted the same structure for our kids, and we've had it for years. It was not new to this house. We got a new board, but the idea of how it works was not new. And so when he's referring to that, I want y'all to know, I'm not saying don't flex on your 2-year-old and your 3-year-old. They're still like in the early season. Don't come in there and be like, I don't care how you feel. Get them Legos up.
Right.
There's different expectations and
a different way to communicate.
In a different way to communicate. But with these jokers, they're big. So we might come in and say, listen, Wi-Fi is going off until all of these expectations are met. So I like to listen to music. You better remember that song and sing it as you do these dishes, as you vacuum this floor, as you take out this trash.
Better go acapella.
You better acapella sing this song because this is our expectation and we're not bending on it. And so those are moments where it's like, no, we've been at work all day. And yes, we want to come and love on you. Everybody good? Everybody okay? Okay, good. Since everybody is doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Why is my house not? These are just questions like, let's do better than this, family. Come on, let's do better. So we've definitely had our moments where we've had to reconcile like this good parent, bad parent. And some of y'all know this, it's a play on words, right? Good cop, bad cop. You've seen the show, right? What is it? Not the First 48. Let's mess with that one because I know there's like CSI and Special Victim Unit. There's like different shows like that. But basically the premise is you have the cop that comes in and like jacks up the suspect and you're questioning them. This is just a person of interest and you're talking to them real harsh. Look, we know you did it. You need to go ahead and tell us the truth. Yada, yada, yada. And it's like, can I have something to drink? Swallow your spit. They're going in on them. They make them feel bad. They say, you know what? I'm done dealing with you. And they walk out the room. Then another cop comes in with a cup of water. Snicker bar. Mm-hmm. You all right? The temperature okay? You need some covers. Look, you need some covers. That chair comfortable. You need a neck pillow like they have in the airport. We want you to be comfortable. Now look, I don't think you did it, okay? But I need some information from you. See, I want to help you. Now my partner's a headbanger. See, my partner wants to jack you up. He thinks she did it. I don't know why, but for some reason I look at you. You remind me of my nephew. That we spent a lot of time fishing and hanging out together, and you remind me a lot of them.
That's good.
I don't want to jack you up.
Right.
So what can you tell me? Then they start talking. All I know is that LaTanya said, okay, good. That's what I'm saying. So then they start taking notes. They're getting somewhere. They play this. This is a strategy that is often used so that the suspect or the person of interest can differentiate the way they're being treated with their willingness, right, to cooperate. Mm-hmm. So since we both agree that the other person talked to me a little harsher, they shouldn't have did me like that. That's why I ain't talked to him, but you nice. I'm gonna tell you something.
Right.
not realizing, if they're not hip to the psychology of it, not realizing that they are on the same team. Sometimes we can see good parent, bad parent used the same way, and that is unhealthy. See, we started by giving you our perception
Mhm.
of like how we see ourselves in these scenarios.
Right.
But when parents do that intentionally to each other,
Yeah.
like one has a desire to be like, for example, in a family where maybe the spouses aren't getting along, husband and wife aren't getting along, but they have a child, one parent may feel like, or both parents may feel like they are using the child kind of like as a pawn. Like, I'm going to give them whatever they want because I just need to get affection somewhere.
Mhm.
Me and my spouse are not getting along and they're using that child's affection.
Mhm.
And so that's causing a rift. And then you get the other one like, well, I told them they couldn't do this. Well, I'm dad or I'm mom and I said they can do it. And so it keeps the division here. And then you have both parents pandering, trying to do what, or engage with that child however they need to because they're vying for affection. And sometimes the one who's doing the work to vie for that affection is coming across as the good parent, which is actually being the manipulative parent.
Mm.
And then you have the parent that is being perceived as the bad parent for wanting to maintain order or the structure. They might be perceived as the bad parent, but they also could be using it as a manipulative tool, to be spiteful in a sense, to say, no, I want to maintain control.
Yeah.
So I don't care if they just gave you that. You're home with me and you're not getting it. So we've actually seen and watched this scenario play out. And I'm not talking about heard about it or watching on anybody's show. We've seen it in real life, how we can see a child in the center of this, and we have the parent that is perceived as the good parent and the other parent perceived as the bad parent. And at any given time, those roles can swap depending on how they're feeling. And it leaves the children very confused
Yeah.
about what's allowed because this was allowed last time. But now, since you're really just going back and forth with mommy, it's not about me. So the rules of engagement have changed.
That's true. Yeah.
And nobody told Sweet Pea,
Man.
right, or Little Man that things have changed.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
You want to avoid that.
Yeah.
You want to avoid that.
Yeah.
Because again, that mindset, that strategy, it really does come from, I would say, military. We see it more in law enforcement, but it's a military tactic. It was actually a tactic to terrorize hostages. That's really where that came from. So what was it when you not kidnap them? I think so. Yeah, hostages. Yeah, in hostage situations, that's where that originated with. And then you started seeing it more common in law enforcement on TV shows, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're in law enforcement, I am not presuming to assume or to present that is how you do your job on the everyday basis. I know there are levels to that, and there are different times and different reasons you might engage in that with the suspect or a person of interest.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the overall idea, I know I'm accurate on. That's what I'm saying we want to avoid in parenting. And so that's why
the effects of that
yes, the impacts of that are real.
Yeah.
Right. Whether you know what you're doing or not, or you're doing it for, other reasons.
Yeah.
So if y'all have seen that, or listen, if y'all have done it, you don't have to tell us that unless you want to. But I can definitely see that. I remember an actual time where I don't know that I was like upset with you, but I was in my feelings about a permission being given to one of our kids.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this very clearly, and I was against it. And you were adamant that you were going to do it, and we were just not on the same page about it. And I very much so remember once you were not around anymore, I reversed that privilege because I was like, well, they not here. And I'm not dealing with this. I don't think you deserve to have this privilege because how you've been acting with me. So while you're with me, you're not getting it. If you want to have it when you're with them, or they let you have it when you're with dad, and he lets you have it, that's fine. Because maybe you've been acting a little differently with dad. But right now, I think you need to be on restriction. I didn't have to sign your folder because you was acting up in class. You were XYZ, and I just don't feel that you deserve to be rewarded in this way. And because we weren't on the same page, I can recall that very feeling. And I knew at that moment, I was like, I'm the bad parent. Guess why? Because they started crying when I took it back. And I'm like, you shouldn't have never got it in the first place. This is not my fault. This is his fault because you should have never been given it. And I told them not to do it. But here we are. And then I really had to be the bad guy because I had already made the decision without thinking. Like, yes, I'm upset about it, but it's kind of too late now. And the only person that's going to really pay for it is the child. And I felt awful.
Yeah.
Not
So-
awful enough to give it back to them because I was still mad. I was still upset and I was still mad about the initial decision.
Yeah.
But when I thought back over it, I was like, I'm not going to do that again.
So I mean, so I guess asking that, because I of course I don't remember what that.
Yeah.
situation
Well,
was, but-
that child was really, really young. This was 15
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
If I think about it, like they were probably 5 or 6 years old and they are
Yeah.
grown now. So
So-
this was a long time ago.
No, that's real. So what do you think in situations like that, how that type of stuff needs to be addressed? Because I know that there have been times where maybe I felt like either it wasn't a stiff or strict enough consequence, or maybe I felt like it didn't deem that consequence.
Okay, you feel like it was maybe too hard.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been on both sides. Where I feel like, well,
okay.
that was too much, or that wasn't enough. So
You
I know we've
definitely
been
let
on
me know
both.
that, Yeah.
I know we've been on both sides.
Yeah, for
you know,
sure,
you
for
know,
sure.
you've been on both sides as well too. But what do you think is the best way to, as parents, to come into a place where it can work out best for us, for the parent, whether you're co-parenting, whether you're in the same household, whatever,
It can be even grandparents.
any of that,
'Cause
right?
grandparents like give
Yeah.
kids privileges too. That
Yeah.
say,
So what does that
no
look
way."
like? What does that look like for whoever is communicating to do what's best for the child or the children, but maybe they have differing opinions or ways of addressing an issue? Yeah.
That one's kind of hard because I don't think that either parent doesn't want what's best.
Hmm.
Right. So I don't know if it's like it's an argument. Like there was no way for me in that moment to say, there was no logical way for me to say, you're doing the wrong thing and you're not being what's best
Mhm.
for our child. You're not making the best decision because your intentions were good. And based on what you had thought and your experience for that time, it wasn't my experience. It was totally different. So it's kind of one of those things where I guess communicating about it,
Hmm.
because I know at some point I did bring it up again.
Hmm.
I know I brought it up again just because of my nature. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I came back
Yeah.
and had some thoughts about it. But I think communicating, because not being on the same page or not being able to see each other's perspective, because I'll never know if the reason why you went ahead and did it anyway was, well, honestly, you didn't do it in spite of what I said. You did it before you knew how I felt what I felt.
Mm.
And then by that time, trying to convince you to reverse the reward that you gave was harder for you to comprehend. And for me, it was cut and dry. I was like, they don't deserve that. They do not earn a reward. In fact, right this moment, like they are in trouble right now. Like they don't get to have a piece of chocolate cake
Yeah.
right now for what they did today. But it was almost like whatever that reward was, you had already like given it. Like if it was a toy, I think it was a toy though.
Mm-hmm.
I keep feeling like it was a toy because I think I took it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a toy.
So
it was something that they wanted. And so us just not being able to come to a resolution at that time because you didn't agree with me and I didn't agree with you, but neither one of us could understand why. Because I was like, why don't you understand what I'm saying? I'm saying that they were acting up and they don't deserve a reward. And you were like, I just got here. I bought this while I was gone and I came home and I wanted to bless my kids with it. Like, why is this a part of their punishment?
Mm-hmm.
And when I think back on that, obviously I'm like, you know what, that makes sense. It goes back to the same reason why I didn't save like all of their bad stuff to tell you. Well, I can't even say bad stuff, but like their misbehaviors.
Yeah.
Why I didn't save those things. Like your dad's driving back in town on Friday. As soon as he get in, he gonna spank you or he's gonna
Yeah.
fuss at you. I never wanted to threaten them or use that against you and them in their relationship. And so I think that time, like, that's what I was doing. I wanted you to like really be like, no, your mom said you was acting up, so you don't get to have this toy today.
Right.
And that didn't happen. So I was
Right.
like,
Which is
I
fair
don't like
enough.
this.
I get
I'm like, I
that,
don't like none of this.
yeah. It's just got me thinking about, you know, solutions. And even like I say, I know that was this particular situation that you're thinking about
Yeah.
was a while ago, but I know we've had other situations that may have been like that as well.
Yeah, for
Where,
sure.
you felt the way, whether you felt like they could go, I felt like they need to stay.
Mhm.
You felt like they should stay, I felt like they could go. You know what I mean? You
Yes.
got situations where our kids
And we had our
want to
own
go to
reasons,
their,
right?
yeah, they want to go to their friends, they want to go to the mall, they want to
Yeah.
go to the movies, they want to go here or there, they want this, they want that.
Yeah.
And we have reasons why they should or shouldn't have it.
In our own minds.
In our own minds.
Yeah.
And sometimes we express that to each
Yeah.
other, express that to them.
Yeah.
But I think overall with this, we want our kids to be accountable. Like we want it to be
That's
a sense
fair.
of
Yeah.
accountability for them to be accountable for their actions, be accountable to us, and what we expect. So
Right.
when it comes to
Yes.
consequences, when it comes to
You get me.
redirecting, yeah, and I think we're at that point now, like,
Yeah.
over the last few years where accountability is a
sure.
big thing. I guess I would hope and I would feel like I could say that,
You
maybe
can.
some of you would agree that we want our kids to be accountable to us. You know what I mean? We want them to realize that what they do doesn't just impact us, you know what I mean? Or just impact them,
Them.
right? It
Right.
impacts
Right.
us. If they have siblings, if they
Yeah.
have friends and family, the things that they do, it impacts not just them. And so making sure that we hold them accountable to what they're doing. I think that's the key. And then communicating on that. What is the best thing that we can do to correct them,
Right.
to help them to be accountable, but also to give a consequence that, is meaningful and logical.
And logical.
Because there
my
have been
consequence
times,
wasn't logical.
there
You
have
can't
been
take a
some-
baby's toy back
yeah, I mean,
after they daddy gave it
But-
to them.
but there were times where I felt like, man, that was just like, because sometimes when we give consequences, it's not sustainable
Right.
for us. If I tell a kid that you can't have your phone for a month, and I know that I work all day, that
Yep.
they're at school and so much is happening,
We all about to be
then
inconvenienced.
now, yeah, you know what I mean? Now I'm being inconvenienced.
Yep.
And so it's like, let me truly think about this so that I can so that we can hold them accountable,
Yeah.
right? Because we want them to be accountable for their actions and what they do.
Right.
But when it comes to giving them a consequence, that's where there has to be a meeting of the mind.
Yeah.
Or if you're a single parent, single guardian, when you take a moment to think about what will hold them accountable,
Right.
and something that's sustainable, so they can learn a lesson, but you can stick to your word. And if you say
Right.
that you need to go to bed at 9 o'clock, or your phone need to be up at 8 every day,
Yes.
that I'm going to be able to double down and check on them, like to inspect what I expect.
Right.
Because when we don't do that, and I say you need to put your phone up at 8 o'clock for a week, and I don't ever check, I just expect them to do it, right? It's not sustainable because I have to manage that. You have to manage, right? We do have to manage how things are, consequenced out when we do stuff like that, because it's a tool that, I think is definitely effective, but it definitely has to be meaningful and logical so that they can learn a lesson, and not just we just throwing something out to scare them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But we don't mean it. And then now
Right.
in their mind, our dad says this. He don't really mean it. He always say that. He always say, that I'm grounded, but I still got my phone. I still can play the game. I just got to go to my room.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's not really teaching them something, and
Or it's not teaching them the thing that you want to teach them.
At
It's
all.
teaching them that you're inconsistent,
right.
and given enough time, you will go back on your very own words and have to eat them.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when it comes to this, whether your kid feels like you're the good parent or the bad parent, always be the parent that the praying parent.
Yeah, the
You know
parent
what I
that
mean?
they
Both of you pray, you know, but the parent that
and they
they
don't have
need
to
for
think that you're
that time,
bad.
they don't, because some of our kids,
They don't
they
think
don't.
we're bad.
And here's the thing,
Yeah.
I don't mind if my kids don't like me sometimes for some of the things that we do,
Yeah, they might get upset.
right? I don't mind. It's fine. You might feel however you're gonna feel. But if we come to a place where we say this is what they need, you know, they'll love us for it later. There are some things that you have done, that you've said, that you have set in place for your children that they don't like right now.
Mhm.
But later on in life, they're gonna love you for the fact that you did that. You stuck to your guns and you meant what you said,
Yeah, that's
and it's gonna change the game for them. You know what I mean? And so that's the thing. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, you might not understand it now, but you'll understand. You'll get it later. And if you
Right.
don't, oh well, you're gonna get it now.
Right.
from my hand to yours. You know what I mean? As
Right.
far as what I'm talking to you about. So um it's okay to have those tough conversations
Yeah.
with our kids. And ultimately, as
Because
long
it's
as they
also
know
teaching.
that they love us. Yeah. I mean that we
Yeah.
love them.
I think that's the key. I heard this man, I don't know why I'm missing his name right now. But he said this. He had a conversation with his daughter, his adult daughter, and he's a very straightforward kind of speaker. Very, a great orator, speaks the word of God, even with his practical, life advice. And so he's having a conversation with his daughter about speaking the truth in love. And he's saying, well, you know me, I'm just going to tell it how it is. I tell the truth. And she said, well, Dad, I've never had a problem with that. I just don't want the truth to travel faster than your love does.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, come on,
That's
daughter.
good. That's really good. Yeah.
That's really good. We don't want the truth to travel faster than love.
Yeah.
And the other side of that is that we can't always predict, because we also teach, we have, I think, resolved this in ourselves, but we also teach our kids that we're not 100% responsible for everyone's perceptions and feelings, but our intentions,
Yeah.
we can at least attempt, right, to be loving even as we share the truth. And in everything that we do, our intentions can be good. Intentions don't always produce the results that we want,
Right.
but you got to start somewhere. And so if you're going to start anywhere, start with the good intentions.
Yeah.
And if your intentions are to share the truth and the intentions are to communicate love, then make sure they both arrive
Yeah.
at the same time. That is why in correction, we are the people who have to decide, like, as our kids were coming up, especially because there are 4 of them,
Right.
giving them opportunities to talk and say their piece and tell us what happened when we are not sure what's going on amongst the siblings.
Right.
And so not everybody understood that in the earlier years, right? Like that you're letting them talk back, or they just need to listen to what you say. And all of that is true. We have an expectation that you don't talk back while we're talking, but we do believe in giving them an opportunity to speak.
Yeah.
We do believe in that. But when we say that time is up, that time is actually up.
Yeah.
And it is our time. So there's just a boundary around it.
Right. And sometimes it's like, no, we're not.
Right.
This is not the time.
This is right.
This is the time you're
not
gonna
the time.
listen.
This
Yeah.
is the time you're gonna listen. This is
Yeah.
the time you can speak. This is the time you're gonna listen. So there's boundaries around all of that. But we learned that by there being so many of them, we would never get to a place of having healthy communication if everybody didn't feel heard. When you just feel like you're being railroaded,
Right.
anytime you want to speak for yourself, or maybe even share your perspective. Now they've shared, and their perspective was skewed and was a little bit off based on their age. Like, okay, I can see how you saw that way. That's still incorrect. Like that's still not acceptable behavior.
Yeah.
And there's still a consequence for it. But what you can't say is that you were not at least heard. Right.
That's
and so
right.
that was a form of love too. Listening is love.
That's good. Yeah.
Listening is actually love. And when you speak, it has the potential to be love true too, if you're able to speak the truth in a way that is familiar, I think, to your kids. And by familiar, I mean, is there already a culture of communication being built in your house? Because you can shock your kids if you never say something about something that they do, or you never talk to them a certain way, and all of a sudden you lash out. Like the experience with Keidron, that he rose his voice like for the first and probably last time, and just spoke louder. And he has a deep voice. So all he had to do was say stop, and that's enough to like, oh, you know, and the impact that that had. And he said, you know what, I am going to be more intentional, more mindful about that because I've definitely done it. And so I've had to have the same talk with myself. Now that I'm older, I don't spend that much energy either. I'm not doing all that. Though those would be rare. I mean, far and few in between, because we have learned to just be very matter of fact, direct, redirect, correct,
Yeah.
ask questions, get an understanding, when it comes to those, those things, and trying to understand our kids before we even get in our mind that there needs to be like some sort of consequence, or who's going to be the good cop or the bad cop, the good parent or the bad parent in this scenario.
Yeah.
So I love what you said about not introducing scare tactics, because that's never been our thing.
Yeah. I think either way, just be intentional, like you've been saying. Just be
Yeah.
intentional. Your intentions is for our kids to grow.
Yeah.
Then be intentional about what we feel like they need
I
in
love
order
that.
for them to grow.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that.
Sometimes our style can get in the way of our intentions. Right. The
Mm.
way we do things, our intentions is to help them. Right. But
Been
the way
there.
I do it
Been there.
gets in the way of my intention. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Because guess what? I'm gonna call it out right now. You're doing it right now. There are some things that need to got right then and there and pulled
Yeah.
out and addressed. But then
Yeah.
there are some things that, okay, I noticed this. Let me think about this. Let me
Right.
see how I need to approach this so I can have the right conversation with them, because this is deeper than, this is not a surface level thing.
Right.
Sometimes we do need to take a step back and take some time to think about how we need to talk to them and how we need to address it, so that way it can be effective.
Right.
Because sometimes in the moment, if we do it right then and there, we will dull out the crazy consequence out of anger, out of
Yes.
frustration, and it'll be something that we can't manage keeping up,
Right.
and it won't be effective in a way to really hold them accountable. Whereas it'd be something that's like, okay, they did this because they're just trying to punish me right now.
Right. And we don't
I
do
don't want to
punishment.
punish. Yeah, but punishment is different than discipline.
Right.
Discipline is to teach and to train them.
That's right.
And as Precious said, even in the comments, like training is not always easy,
Yeah.
because it's repetitive. It's repetitive. Like, you have to do it again. You have to tell them again.
Right.
You have to do it
Right.
again. You don't get strong by lifting once. You know what I'm saying? You don't, run a mile by running, 10 yards. You know what I mean? Like, you
Right.
have to train, and it's repetitive. You do it over
Yes.
and over again intentionally.
Mhm.
And so that's what it is when it comes to parenting, when it comes to building.
Yeah.
And so just be an intentional parent.
Right.
Be an intentional parent. If your style isn't helping you get to the intention that you are,
Right.
that's the goal, right?
Right. Because
Then
we're not
just
telling you
switch
to
up the style.
change.
Yeah. Just
But what do
switch
you
up
want?
how you do it.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't do it right in the moment. Maybe I think about it. Maybe I do it in a moment because maybe I think too much. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so,
Those are possibilities.
yeah,
No, it's true. Listen, if this is helping y'all by now, we hope that you have already shared, that you have liked this, that you didn't just comment, but
Yeah.
you liked it. You maybe shared it, tag someone in this, invite them to join the Facebook group, Talking with the Bostons, because
Yeah.
we're here every Sunday, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Central, and we typically finish whenever we want to. So that's when we start, but we finish when we want to. But these conversations, we're happy to have them, because we're in a place where, like I said, our kids are getting a little bit older now, and we're just talking about experiences,
Yeah.
and just seeing where everybody's at and taking a pulse. This is a time for us to kind of be reflective on things that matter to us.
Mhm.
And again, you can hear the common thread throughout. Whichever parent you may consider yourself, nothing beats a praying parent.
Mhm.
And we were playing around with the title, good parent, bad parent. Don't identify as either one.
Right. That's good.
Identify as the intentional praying parent
Yeah.
that understands that the best parents learn from the best parent, and that is our Heavenly Father. That is truly what we believe,
It's good.
and it is the foundation and the center of how we do everything. And I mean life individually, life together, life as a married couple, life as parents, life as ministers. This is how we live our life with Christ in the center of all of our interactions, and we try to make sure that that is the forefront of what people see. So you don't hear and see two people who have it all figured out. We are still learning our kids, because we'll also say this with our 24-year-old, he's adulting. So we're in a different phase with him. So our parenting is still parenting, but it's more coaching now. It's giving advice when solicited. Unless I just get frustrated, I'm like, baby, I gotta help you. Listen to mom. This is what you need to do. Or, sometimes dad has to do that too.
Yeah.
We have a 20-year-old, 21-year-old. Oh
Mhm.
my goodness. I'm not even used to saying it yet. 21-year-old who is very different than her older brother. They're similar. They have a great relationship, but they're still very different at the same time. And so even though she's in college, she's having a different adulting experience, and she still lives at home. So the way we parent / coach her is different also. We have to establish and allow for different boundaries with her. Like today, it was funny because we mentioned something, and she was like, oh, I don't feel like having this conversation about that. And I said, you know what? I'm good with that. I get it. She's expressing that she doesn't want to feel bad about a decision, and me bringing it up might not be comfortable. And we're all hungry, and we're getting ready to go get something to eat. So I'm going to honor her and respect the young woman that she's becoming, and let her make it on that one.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's one of those concessions that
I felt the same way in
make.
a moment. Like,
Yeah, I was like, you know what? That's okay.
fair enough. Yeah.
But still with Zion is 15. There are moments where we have learned his personality. Depending on how he's feeling, he's either or he's he's just like to himself. But he's a great kid, and
Right.
it's just him. And so sometimes we'll look at ourselves and we're like, is any of that us? Maybe, maybe not, but it's him. And so we have to lead him from where he is. He's a 15-year-old young man, obviously hormonal, because this is a phase that he's in. So there are some times when we're like, what's wrong or why? He don't know. They don't know. It's the same thing with them. You're like, so why are you so grumpy? Why do you have? They don't know. And then all of a sudden they're happy again. And you're just happy that they're happy. They're like, what happened? Like, it doesn't matter. They're happy again. And they don't know. But because we have kind of seen some of those seasons, we have learned to rock steady. Just rock steady. Make sure that our communication is on point. Because what do we always say? One day them kids will be gone. It's going to be us.
It'll be us.
And we're not going to be sad. We're going to spend our time together.
Right.
We're going to have a ball. Ain't going to be no stinking trash ever. That won't ever happen again. And he's such a good husband. Every now and again, when Zion's at school and the trash has been left, he'll go ahead and take it out.
Yeah,
He won't even be like, well, he got to take it out when he get home. He'll go ahead and make the concession for me. So, as we're doing life together and with our kids, we're still growing and we're still learning as the phases go. And we encourage all of you out there to continue to do the same in your relationships, in the relationships with the little people that you love, whether they're your biologicals or just little people that you love.
Right.
Keep growing and being open to learn. And it's okay to adjust. Don't get married to your style. Be devoted to whatever that role is. Be devoted to your spouse. Be devoted
to your child.
Be devoted to your child, to your children.
Yeah.
Don't get married to that style and say, no, this is just who I am. Talk to God about it. Some things about us have not and will not change,
right,
because we're exactly who our kids need us to be.
Right.
But there have been moments where God has spoken to us individually and collectively and said, that was for a season.
Right.
I need y'all to grow in this way. I need y'all to move in this way. And we just choose to believe that he's sparing our blood pressure and a headache at the same time.
Praise Lord. Yeah.
Doing it his way, we have found it to be a blessing. And because of that, we like our kids. Like, we love them, but like we like the people that they're becoming.
Yeah, for sure.
God did that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. It's really
What else
good.
you want to say to these people?
No,
Y'all on here tonight,
yeah.
hey?
Listen,
All right.
listen. No, I think this has
How y'all
been
doing?
this has been good. You know, I'm so grateful. We're grateful for the company that y'all have been on tonight.
Yeah. It's a
You know,
good conversation.
yeah, definitely good conversation.
Look, Chris
Um,
Barbosa, hollered
Yeah,
at us.
love you too,
I
Chris.
did message you back. We love y'all
Yeah,
more.
love y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Vic, same. God bless you too, brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crystal.
Crystal Davis. Yeah.
Yo,
Thank
we
you.
love you, sis. You know how we feel about you.
For sure. Tanya
Whole
Dillard,
life.
love you. Love you.
Yes,
You and the
Tanya.
family. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all be sure if you haven't been to our YouTube, thank y'all for watching. Those of you who are watching on YouTube, God bless y'all's heart.
Hey, appreciate y'all.
Yeah, so subscribe to the YouTube, hit the notification bell so you can know when we coming on here.
That's right.
When we have content popping up. Join our Facebook group, Talking with the Bostons. Feel free to invite your friends if you feel like this is something that is wholesome and worth your time. We're looking forward to continue to build and grow. There's some cool stuff that we are looking forward to when it comes to what we're doing and how we're doing it. And we want y'all to be a part of it. We have been doing, this is our 9th episode.
Yes,
right? Yeah, so we'll say season 1. We're going to keep it going from there. But, we are, been praying about some things, formatting, but we really like the live aspect of having you all on here with us. So, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for sharing all those things like that. So on today, just remember to be intentional about what you're doing, how you're doing it as a parent. Be intentional, to be meaningful and logical when it comes to how you hold your children accountable.
Right.
That's so important. And we just pray that God gives y'all discernment, that He gives you wisdom. He continues to keep us as well,
That's
because, life is happening. It's one thing about learning. There's this difference, and I've said this before, there's a difference between knowing and learning, right? Knowing is absolute, it's finite, right? But learning is infinite. You can continue to learn. It's like, no, I have a growth mindset when it comes to learning about my spouse and learning about my children, because life is happening.
I appreciate that.
Listen,
I'm changing. I done got.
Here's the thing.
Look,
oh Lord,
we met.
Yeah.
When we were 16.
Yeah, we were young.
We're 40 now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, a lot of life.
Yes.
A lot of learning, a lot of love.
Yes. More love than anything.
More love than anything. Yeah.
Then learning, then life, the 3 L's.
Yeah.
Learning, loving, and
yeah, it's all interchangeable.
Loving, yep.
It all flows together. And so don't get stuck.
Right.
Don't get stuck. Just know that that there's a way. What they say, well, there's a way. If you're willing,
right. That's
if
right.
you're willing, there's always a way,
Right.
So we love y'all. We appreciate y'all once again. And thank y'all for tuning in. And we will see y'all next Sunday.
Next Sunday. Oh my God. So country. Next Sunday, 7 p.m. Central. So no matter where you're watching from, if you are on our Facebook group, we are Central Time, 7 p.m. Central. We'll see you next Sunday. Love you guys.
Love y'all.